Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 82 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is December, we are rapidly approaching the end of 2022 in game, which means, of course, end of the year awards, but that's a little ways off yet. We still have the Frostbite pay-per-view, which we are rampantly ramping up to. Yep, that's the sentence I'm going to go with. Just to clarify, it is fucking hot in Northern Ireland at the minute. I don't know. So as of the date currently is the 12th of August 2022. Not the, date an episode, but like, it's fucking warm. And I can't have the fan on when I'm recording because you can hear it in the background, so it fucks with the audio. So I'm having to record, then go very quickly turn the fan on, cool myself down, and then like come back, do whatever I need to do, and then come back, turn the fan off, and continue to record. It is fucking horrendous. So let's talk news. There's a big piece of news regarding the series that I want to discuss at the end. So let's nail the smaller news stories first. Last episode I announced that Miro's contract for AEW was actually coming to an end, but they have extended it, and unfortunately they have extended it to an exclusive written. So Miro unfortunately will not be coming to NPW anytime soon. The next bit of news I want to talk is Brody King signed by the Big Dub. Brody currently working for Strong US and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, so he hasn't been signed by AEW in the Notorious universe. Good worker. You could argue that there's no real weakness in his game. And he has gotten his WWE name, Samson Mezger. I absolutely adore how shit the renamer is in this game, because it is perfect for WWE. And then the final bit of news that I've been holding on to for 2 episodes now. We formed the Six Nations. So the last bit of news I've been holding on to for 2 episodes, I announced at the very, very first episode, and a couple of times since, that the metagame of the Notorious universe, other than the local to global challenge that it is, was to kind of protect the UK indie scene from WWE monopolising it. So, to do that, we have created a 6 nations of wrestling across the UK and Europe and Ireland. Here is our Infinity Lion, I suppose. Each gem at the side representing one of the companies or countries. So, if you're a rugby fan, you will know that the 6 nations consists of Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, France and Italy. There's no French or Italian promotions in this game. So, that's out the window. But what we do have is, so the 6 nations of wrestling are England, represented by Rev Pro. Ireland, represented by us, Notorious, obviously. Wales, represented by Attack Pro. Scotland, represented by Insane Championship Wrestling. Australia, represented by Pro Wrestling Australia. And finally, Germany, represented by WXW. This was all pretty standard and obvious choices, apart from WXW, due to their very friendly relationship with WWE and NXT UK. I was kind of not thinking about it. I was kind of not going to sign with them and go with GWF instead. But they have Walter, and I kind of want Walter. So, we could technically have a talent trade where I could get Walter. Please. The rest, again, were maybe all kind of, maybe more so out of necessity than choice. Attack is the only Welsh promotion. And you may have noticed every promotion has now gotten a nice new upgrade for their logo. Insane, again, was the only Scottish promotion. Discovery and the like aren't in TEW. Notorious, I mean, yeah, it's us. They had to be us for Ireland. Pro Wrestling Australia, there was another option, which was Pro Wrestling Rampage. I went with PWA because it has Cal Fletcher and Aussie Open there. and has the velocities as well, and Charlie Evans. We have a lot of shared wrestlers there, so that was why I went with PWA. And Rev Pro was obviously our developmental territory, so I was obviously going to go with them for England. So obviously with the Alliance, there is no belts as of such yet. I have put it... So one of the reasons why I did this was because we are obviously a very wealthy promotion. Even if we do kind of lose money month after month, we had enough funds at the start of the game to keep us afloat. This promotion allows me to divvy out some of the wealth, which the other companies will need. So if you take a look, for example, at Insane Championship Wrestling, they're already £206 in debt. Not a massive amount, but they're going to need some money. In fact, they actually sold their dojo to keep it afloat. So there you go. Rev Pro, before obviously we took it over, was in debt. They are in debt now, but that's because they don't make money. You know. WXW is actually okay. Attack is doing pretty well, I believe. Yeah, Attack's not too bad. PWA are losing money steadily, but it's not the worst I've seen. So not only then are we sharing profits, but we also have the ability to loan in and out workers from the other companies. The final thing is, and this is not a rule, this is just for me myself, if a talent, say Aussie Open for example, which is shared between Attack, Rev Pro and PWA, I will not sign them to an exclusive deal so that they are free to wrestle at one of the Six Nation companies. The only time I will do it is to block like the likes of AAA, WWE, AEW, one of the big companies, signing them to an exclusive deal. That's the only time I will do it, is to block that from happening. Other than that, so we'll just kind of go through some of them. So Crazy Mary Dobson and the Light Ghosts and Eddie Dennis, LJ Cleary, who we do currently have as well, I will not be signing any of them to an exclusive deal, you know, similar to Kaylee Ray, Grado, Kenny Williams, you know, Kez Evans, Stevie Boy. None of these guys I'm going to sign to an exclusive deal to allow them to be featured across all members of the Six Nations Alliance if they so choose. Again, it's not a hard rule and it's not written into the Alliance rules. It's just something that, as I said, I'm trying to stop WWE monopolizing NXT or the UK indie scene, and so allowing our... And if I just start signing people to exclusive deals, I'm doing the exact same thing. So, yeah. So the likes of, you know, don't get me wrong, we will still sign people to exclusive deals. The likes of Cesaro, the likes of Chris Hero, the likes of Kenny Williams. I won't be doing him or Pac right away because I don't want to piss off AEW and have them trigger an exclusive deal. We don't have that type of money to throw around yet. But it's those sort of people I would be signed to an exclusive deal. Them and a lot of our smaller Fight School student talents, if they're not shared, will be signed to exclusive deals. The reason is they are cheap to sign. You can sign them in for a long time, and it helps bolster your company up to, I think it's a roster of 30? No, maybe less. But you need so many exclusively signed talents to run house shows. So I want a mix of high profile stars and nobodies that go on the house show circuit. Right, well, that is all the news covered, and that is obviously the Six Nations of Wrestling covered. It is now time to book this week's Wanted. So let's do that. And we are back, coming at you from the Europa Hotel in Belfast. It is Thursday Night Wanted. So let's talk about the show. It all went very, very smoothly. First up, in a backstage angle, Sonico approaches Pentagon Jr. backstage and doesn't say anything, but does hold his hand out, begging for Pentagon to come back to him and Jake. But Pentagon says blood is thicker than water and walks off. 60 rated segment, which is good. And in a pre-show matchup, Grado and Mandrews defeated Dickie Divers and Jack Morris, who we called up from Rev Pro for this, in 15:28 when Grado pinned Jack Morris with a wee boot. Jack had a 37, Dickie had a 47, Mandrews a 45, Grado a 51. That's Grado outperformed Mark Andrews. What the fuck? Segment 48 overall, which is okay. Then on to the main show in a good match. Jay Lethal defeated Dean Allmark in 9:34 with a flying elbow. Dean had a 48 and Jay had a 63. All in all, a 60 rated match, which is good. Post-match then, Jay gets on the mic and says he is a franchise investment for NPW. He should not be wasting his time on matches against the likes of Dean Allmark. And so, to get rid of the riffraff such as this, Jay Lethal is holding his own big and bad battle royal in 2 weeks, pretty much as an audition to be his muscle. This will of course lead to Will Hobbs winning it, spoiler alert, as this is of course a feud between Jay Lethal and Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs is going to refuse the invite to be Jay's muscle, as you know, he wants to be his own man after the whole Ace Austin feud. 62 rated segment, which is good. Next up, in a bout that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, CCK, the newly reformed CCK, defeated Ken Malmsteen and Les Artistes in 10-11 when Grisham pinned Lucas with a spike driver. A spike driver? Should that not be spike pile driver? No? Am I going crazy? Grisham with a 74. Fuck. Oh, calm down. Kid Lycos Jr. with a 62, Lycos with a 65. Guys, unnecessary. Ken with a 44, Peter with a 48, and Lucas with a 49. 64 altogether, which is very good. You three need to calm down. That was an unnecessary performance from you three. Post-match then, the Filthy Generation come out and say they are sick and tired of this crappy little love fest between Grisham, Lycos Jim, and Aussie Open, and a 6-man tag is set for the Frostbite pay-per-view. Filthy Generation versus CCK. Next up, in a backstage promo, Jen interviews Maki Ito, who claims she doesn't care who wins tonight. She's already beaten Tessa Blanchard once, and she's crazier than Mary Dobson. 75 rated segment, which is fucking awesome for Maki Ito. She is so good on the mic. So good. And then the number one contenders match itself. Crazy Mary Dobson defeated Tessa Blanchard with a split-legged moonsault after Xia Brookside turns on Tessa Blanchard. So during the match then, Xia would come down, have a chair ready to give to Tessa, and just as Tessa goes for it, Xia would pull it away, and Crazy Mary Dobson would then be able to set up for the split-legged moonsault. So yes, Xia is now face and will go on to feud with Tessa Blanchard. And yeah, we're going to have that Dynasty split up, or Dynasty Civil War, which will first of all have a tag match between Xia and Davey versus Joe and Tessa, and during that match Natalia will decide who she's going to partner with, whether she's going to be heel or face. And then we're going to have the blow off matches, which will be Tessa versus Xia and Davey versus Joe, and then yeah, that'll kind of be the end of that feud. Not only that, I signed Tully Blanchard, which I'm not sure if I've talked about. So Tully Blanchard is going to become the new manager for Dynasty. It just makes sense. So it does. And I did have an idea of, and it's a fucking crazy idea, but I did have an idea of who to recruit to bring into Dynasty to be like the main event male competitor. Joe Henning is good, but he's very much a mid-card guy. But this guy is absolutely ready to be thrust immediately into the main event. But it's another American, and like, we have a lot of Americans. And this is supposed to be like a UK and Irish promotion with European as well. So I don't know. But remember these words. And in our main event, Pentagon Jr. defeated Sonico in a 66 rated match. Pentagon a 66, Sonico a 58, and some managing bonuses for Jake the Snake Roberts and Sonico. Then post-match, Sonico fucking loses it and attacks both Ray and Pentagon and just destroys both of them until Jake forcibly has to remove the enraged Sonico from both men. Jake then gets on the mic and warns Ray that Sonico's rage can no longer be contained to the ring, and that at the pay-per-view it will be Sonico versus Ray Phoenix in a Falls Count Anywhere match. 63 rated segment. And that is our show with a 68, which is good. Not as good as we have had previously with our lot of 70s, but all in all, I am still very happy with that. So that is it for this week. There is no news to discuss coming out of the tapings. So next time you guys will be back will be for the Frostbite pay-per-view itself in 2 weeks' time. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of worried. The last time we did Frostbite and had Grado in the main event, it didn't go great. But Pac is very good. Pac is a very good wrestler. So I don't know. is the main thing. I don't know how it'll go, but I think it will be okay. Thank you very much for joining as always. If you did enjoy this, do leave a like and subscribe to the Bash Bros channel for more Notorious and other great shows. If you have any ideas for tag team storylines, feuds, factions, you name it, and put it in the comments and I will try book it for you. With all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.